Good afternoon and welcome to today's closing stream. That's right, Tuesday closing stream coming at you live right now. Just noticing that some of the signals that we saw are starting to play out. Are they going to continue higher? The reason I'm getting on a little bit early here as we're looking at this little basing out type signal for the Qs is because of the shorter time frames. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Just real quick reminder that we do have those courses for 90% off that is going to go away after this week. Make sure to get it while it lasts if you're trying to learn and find signals like we found down here for this bounce that's happening. Now, the reason that I'm hopping on a little bit early here is just because we noticed a small 5-minute divergence. Sometimes these do roll down 30-minute charts. Now we do notice maybe this is some kind of cup and handle to actually head higher. Still higher would be the more probable thing in my opinion. But if we need to reboot, if we need to find those buyers one more time, we may see this roll over for some kind of triple divergence, right? We could do something like this. I'm still leaning towards this. I want to be very clear. I'm leaning towards this heading upward over time, but I'm paying attention to the fact that there is a form of weakness here, and we could roll over briefly for this 30-minute chart, see if that's able to base out and turn back up. Now, I'm just notifying you about that. It doesn't mean any of that has to take place. We want to pay attention to this 30-minute signal, see if it rolls over. One signal that I am enjoying is the Microsoft signal. I think I really am starting to like this, seeing that curl up on the hourly chart right there for a couple hours now, and now seeing, hey, what? The 2 hour is starting to flip back around. So the 2 hour can experience some positivity. It is giving you those basing out signals. That's why we put that video out yesterday. I know it was short. I know it maybe wasn't the normal best video ever, but I just real quickly wanted to show you some of those setups. And even though there was some more consolidation, I would say, right? More consolidation, you still have that point that turned up down in this area. A little cross down, little cross up. Okay. So this is what I'm paying attention to. Obviously, a lot of people paying attention to Tesla. Tesla really not showing that good of price action. Really, really flaggy in here. Not the best setup at this point. Something that could be a little better. Something like AMD showing that good tapering. Maybe that's able to turn up on a 2 hour chart. So that's what we're paying attention to now. Turn ups on 2 hour charts is going to be very important. Are we going to pull back before that? Nvidia earnings. So let's go take a peek over at Nvidia as we see the price action coming down just a little bit more as we open up for that 30-minute bar, a little bit early on this. But Nvidia curling up on a 30-minute, great. Curls down on a 30-minute, not so great anymore, right? Maybe we're continuing to consolidate, even though we have some decent little structure in here to actually head higher. We haven't seen that breakout moment. Maybe we want to consolidate even further before some kind of big news, maybe around earnings. Coinbase, as it goes, well, if we're looking over at something like Coinbase, I mean, really want to pay attention to what Bitcoin has done, and then Coinbase usually follows. So with Coinbase here, you're noticing that 30-minute giving you that overall pullback. So that's why you got to pay attention to those points to see divergences and things like that. And what do you see? You see a flatness here, but overall, if you really take the top of that, pretty much you see the dotted line, there's a little bit of space there. So I know there's a divergence there, just very, very small, led to a downturn, but it paid to pay attention. As we go over and look at a 2 hour that has curled down, now we're trying to curl back up, so we'll see if that can gain some positivity. What I like to do is go look, what is Bitcoin doing? Right? And see if Bitcoin's going to help me out at all. If I start to see Bitcoin doing a little 2 hour pop, that means Coinbase usually will see some kind of 30-minute curl up for the time being. So that's what I'm paying attention to. Just notice this is starting to ramp up a little bit for Bitcoin. Okay, starting to ramp up a little bit for Bitcoin. So, now, Bitcoin can behave by itself, but we could follow that later on, right? We've seen some upside in the market as Bitcoin saw that upside. Now we're seeing that upside as well. We're going to see if that can pull us back down. So for the most part, we're continuing to see upside, and then now we're pulling back on a 4 hour. 4 hour says 4 hour pullback. So what I'm really paying attention to still is I think we have a good shot to do this on the SPY. I think we have a good shot to see some kind of, even with a 30-minute curl back down, maybe Nvidia earnings gets us up for a little bit. I'm going to be watching this area up here very, very closely over the next week, seeing if that can pull up to that area, and then we hit something like September 6th, September 9th, when we get that jobs data on, I believe it was September 6th, actually. Possible head and shoulders forming, yeah. So that's the take here. It's kind of like you have a way up and a way down. The only reason I would say this head and shoulders might have some more room in it is just because we're coming down to this extreme point. I think most of the time when you see head and shoulders play out for downside, you would more so take this level here. And notice we get excited, boom, to the upside, we get excited. Yeah, we're heading up. I would really like to see reversal signals first though. So if the 2 hour doesn't curl up, yeah, we can head down to that point. But I think what you're going to see is something very simple. You have this, it's on the MACD, kind of flat, kind of up on the RSI. I think you go and do this, and then you could say that's an argument for a right shoulder. That's what I would say for Microsoft, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. You notice that would leak into next week. So just paying attention to it, but Max, you're a max effort. You're 100% correct in thinking like, hey, zoom out on things. I like the fact that you're saying zoom out on things, really look at the big picture, look at this baseline down here that we can't break below, and maybe that's your new line in the sand, right? Kind of like a new line in the sand. Probably put it right in between here. Maybe we'll go with the closings right there. So right there, that 393.20 proven to be pretty important, talking about the left head and possible right shoulder forming. But just notice this left shoulder. Look how wonky that is. If you want to consider it a left shoulder, as that kind of came down to this point, but you could say, oh, this is a left shoulder, this is a head. Who's to say this isn't going to be a complex right shoulder, right? Where it does something funky. Yeah, so 393 and 420, I still think this has an opportunity to maybe push up to something like 431. I think 431 would be a pretty solid level. 431 would be pretty solid because we've used that as resistance before. If you look at the highs up in here, if I just mark off this high, what are you going to see across the way? Well, we're going to see top in here, resistance came. So there's probably a little zone right here that I could make as a sell zone. Maybe I'll do that right now for fun, just kind of really read into this and look. Let's take the very top and the very bottoms of the consolidation, and let's go a little bit tighter. Something like that. I believe that's probably the best zone that we could make for now. And then as far as the bottom side zone, you'd probably go with these wicks down here. Let's just go a little bit above them and then go down to the last bottom wick and just say, okay, anywhere in that zone, pretty important. So at this moment now, I think we're going to see some kind of move up to that zone. And then I think, oh, we go like this, and then we start to see some trouble if we're going to experience something bad. Tomorrow recovers the market. That's what it looks like, right? It looks like the SPY is going to trap people to the upside. Just being genuine about that. That's what I think is going to happen. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the signals are saying. And at this moment, we're trying to build up. We're crossing up on hourly charts, right? We're crossing up on, at least for the Qs and hourly chart, trying to cross up. So that would tell me positivity is the most likely option. Everyone gets bullish with a GDP. Everyone gets bullish with the, say, Nvidia earnings. And then we start to get towards that Wednesday, Thursday area next week, we start to get even closer to September 6th, and problems can start. So I don't think this will just be a boom like this. I think we'll see some chop in it to get us up to these type of levels. And then we got to pay attention to the signal there. That's what I think will go on for the Qs. That's what I think will go on for the SPY. But yeah, if we curl up on a 2 hour, that's 2 hour momentum saying upward direction. Now, that's just me reading into how I think it would play out. That's not saying any of that is going to actually happen. I gotta always say that because people think like, oh, somehow I know. I know nothing about what Nvidia is putting out for earnings. Very clear about that. I'm just trying to think in advance so I'm ready for whatever signal pops up. You notice at the beginning of this stream, we did mention how the 30-minute could take another dip down, right? This could take more time. The 30-minute could dip down here, actually giving you a triple divergence, and then that would be a pretty solid one. Not really leaning towards that, but I am aware that there is 5-minute weakness in here, and that can roll down this 30-minute pretty quick, and then make another divergence point, and then start to head up over time, right? The market is built to really trick you and trap you. You can thank the market makers for that one. I did notice AMC flipping to the negative side just barely, just a little bit. And GameStop's still dropping at this point. So GameStop, the most likely thing was the 2 hour curling down. Look for that thing to curl back up, right? You need 2 hour momentum back with you. I wonder if the daily was able to cross with this, by the way. Ooh, daily might cross soon. just before earnings. Flush everyone out before earnings, and then they actually say what they're going to do with the $4 billion. That would be nice. One thing I'm paying attention to with volatility is a retest again of that 200. Remember, if we break down below that, we could squeeze for a little bit of time, but we talked about how that time might be limited because you're very close to 1212 already. Once you get below that 200, the 200 very, very low. 50 already made that cross right there. So that is a crash signal. And there is an argument for this type of move to happen here. I'm going to show you it on a 4-hour chart. If you look at the 4-hour, if we did dip down to this level again and then see that confirm back up, dip down like this and confirm back up, that would be a sign for some extreme volatility coming in, at least the potential for extreme volatility to come in. And then I'm seeing that, if I see that at the same time as seeing, oh, the dollar creates another little point of divergence here or just turns around at any time, that's when I'll start to pay attention. Notice this from the dollar really heading down in this pattern, now tapering off, tapers off again maybe, and then boom, that could come in very soon. So just paying attention to how to really position myself. And for the time being as well, the dollar can head up while the stock market heads up. That's what we'll pay attention to as well. So even if this move happens, it doesn't necessarily mean the dollar is telling you there's going to be a top in the market. The dollar normally bottoms before the market tops. So we haven't seen that dollar bottom out, aka we could be seeing a time where the SPY goes up and the dollar goes up at the same time. Right now for the Qs, I think the most important thing is to curl up on a 5-minute chart. And I'm being genuine about that. I don't pay attention to 5 minutes a lot, but I do look at them periodically to see if there's weakness in this move towards a big point where you need to break through. Right now, 2 scenarios is this is some kind of double top, right? That's the bearish scenario. The bullish scenario is this is a cup and handle. Okay, so let's see if we can break through this by end of day in the last hour of the day. How are we doing out there? Everyone having some good plays? Hopefully everyone's having some fun today. PCC continues to remain elevated, not necessarily in the trap area, but if we see that kind of push up just a little bit, we'd be right back in there. You were in there most of the day. I can see a 5-minute curl up here. I'm pretty happy because the thing is, if we kind of measure this out, we take the top of this down to the bottom of the wick and then we pull that over. Right, we put that on top of this. Where are you heading to? Probably that daily expected move by the end of day. We'll see. And that'll be enough to curl up the 2-hour and you might see some moves higher. Great evening. For me, it's just the afternoon. But konnichiwa. Welcome, welcome. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Baby girl just woke up from her nap, so we're having a pretty decent day. Let's look over at Nvidia showing you a very similar signal. Is this some kind of maybe even double topping happening here? Or is it just some kind of tiny cup and handle that's actually going to lead to upside? The key thing with Nvidia being the 2-hour curling up, that hasn't happened yet, okay? That most likely will happen with the earnings. If people get excited before the earnings, that's where we'll pay attention. If people get excited in the SPY before the earnings, that's where we will pay attention. McDonald's, haven't heard about McDonald's in a little bit. Looks pretty good, honestly, pulling back with time on this 2-hour. I really like that. Did the hourly cross up? Hourly trying to cross up right now after the consolidation. That's what you really like to see, this consolidative move. You cross up and then boom, positivity. So if this thing can cross up, you do have that room to the upside. You pulled back with time here. I like that look. I am aware that the 2-hour could be looking like some divergence coming in, but not the best. So I'm thinking this still has one more push left in it before we actually see a drop. And that would make sense as far as getting up to the top of the liquidity in here, maybe towards 296, 300. But that's as long as the hourly can curl up. That's the probable thing there. Obviously got to manage the trade, got to make sure that those things are holding true. HD, Home Depot. Looking over at that, we have a little thing going on here that can prove to be some weakness. That is a 2-hour tiny divergence right here. We have divergence all across the way here. So if this needs to, it looks like a bigger pullback could come. maybe we got a little excited with this push and we're actually supposed to set up that little head and shoulder type look. But you have to pay attention anytime you see something even little like that, because it can rotate down daily chart. So let's look at that daily chart. That does have divergence now. So if McDonald's is about to experience some weakness, this daily is going to be able to cross, and you're getting a signal of that potentially happening soon, right? We see that 2-hour tiny little signal. Now, if that's not going to play out, we could just see a brief 2-hour pullback, see that curl back up, and then have another point to pay attention to later on. Let's go look at Kava. Is it going to fill some gaps on the way down? Well, you have that 2-hour crossover, so most likely will experience some kind of 2-hour pullback. I wouldn't mind going to where you broke out from. Something like a 98.83 would be pretty nice. Curl down to there, see if you get close to the center line, curl back up. That could be a solid look. Is VRT on anyone's radar? Well, we can take a peek at it real quick. Let's go look at that real quick. And we're noticing what? The 2-hour has curled up for this. So the most likely thing for VRT is you're going to test this high or go make a new one. And this is a very pretty good look, right? Left. And then we kind of see this head down here. We kind of build this elongated right shoulder. That's great. That's some liquidity being built. And then boom, maybe a big move comes after that. Has the daily turned up? I'm sure it has. And it's trying to go positive. So you do have daily momentum with you as well. I kind of like that look, but I would just make sure. Awesome, David. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for saying the course is helping. It makes me feel good about that. And we're hopefully going to add a little bit to that to show you guys some of the rig behavior. As we could go into a bear market, rig behavior becomes more and more important. And when we say rig behavior, we just say, when there's selling behind the curtain, when there's buying behind the curtain. So you have to make sure to know those type of things in a bear market, because you will see multiple times where the PCC is high and the dollar is going lower while the stock market is also going lower, telling you there is a trap being set, and then you see a reversal signal and you're like, okay, this is a good signal to pay attention to. This looks pretty positive to me so far. We'll see if that can last, because you always have potential to go up and then drop right off. So if that 2-hour curls down, you're still close to that center line, make sure you're ready to react. But for now, it looks all right to me on VRT. What are you thinking about it, Max? Yo, yeah, John, some people have crazy ways of finding tickers. I like to just stick with what I know, but people have some crazy ways of finding tickers, and it makes for a lot of fun, because someone who has taken the technical indicators course. It's only $100 for a few more days, guys, 90% off. But someone who takes that's got to tell me about these plays on these other stocks that people are looking at early on, because we can find some cool things. Kind of like Siri. I think it was Siri this morning that had some decent looking little signals, right? I think it was Siri, right? With a 30-minute signal maybe. Trying to curl back down as of right now, but I don't mind that look. I really don't mind this. And then we see if a 2-hour can just curl back up, right? A 2-hour curls up, you're in that move a little early. I like that look for the most part. Oh yeah, we'll show you some pics, or maybe we'll bring baby girl on stream one of these days when she's in a good mood. Right after a nap, she's usually in a great mood. You were thinking about the $90 area? Yeah, Tammy, we'll show her off. I'm sure she would love to say hi. I bring her in front of my computer when I'm sometimes watching her in the afternoon. I'm keeping my eye on some stocks. And yeah, she'll try to type on my keyboard and stuff. And I'm like, oh God, please just... Thankfully, I have a separate computer for my orders, but I was just like, God, if I had like my trading accounts on this computer, I'd just be like, oh shit, she's gonna buy something. Yeah, Warren Buffett did buy Sirius XM Holdings, so we're just paying attention to it for the most part. One thing is the Dow flipping back to positive as of right now with a 2-hour divergence. Kind of crazy that you have a 2-hour divergence on the Dow. And we actually are talking about potential for possibly some upside, right? If we're still seeing hourlies kind of want to turn in the upward direction for now, we're aware of that little 5-minute signal though, right? We're aware of that 5-minute signal here for the Qs. So if we need to dip down one more time, that would really fake some people out. For the SPY, you're mainly just moving sideways, right? You've moved sideways pretty much since these points in here. You've really been going sideways. I know we've seen some blips along the way, but relatively sideways. And what you're noticing here is if that 30-minute curled down, hey, bad things can happen again, but those haven't been proving themselves very well. So you want to pay attention to maybe a bigger time frame, maybe even an hourly as that's trying to curl up. You can see if that hourly curls up, we've built a lot of liquidity in here, so a big move can come. We'll see which direction that is in. If that curls up on the MACD, you would say, hey, upward direction looks pretty likely. That's what I would say for the SPY. As we go into IWM, you're seeing a similar thing where more on the 30-minute level, you're by that center line. So if that 30-minute curls up, you can see a big positive move. That would be interesting, because what could happen from here is you already set up a little divergence here on the RSI. And now if you make that move up, now you have another 30-minute divergence possibly to worry about. So you're kind of hoping no divergence is created up at those highs. Getting to any day trades today? Qs were really tempting me, man. Qs were really tempting me. I was like, man, I want to so bad, but no, I more so would be able to take a couple of positions outside. What I did do so far was I took a dabble on Microsoft, watching this one pretty closely. This is the overall trade for the position that's going to possibly send us a little bit higher. I think a target for this was something like a 430, I think. 430 was what I was looking at. Let me double check this. Yeah, 430 to 432 in this area right in here is kind of where I'm paying attention. But I'm going to be quick with it. If I see just a move like this and it's worth enough money, I'm going to be like, okay, cool. If I get a solid 5-7 points here, I'll probably be happy with it. AMC trying to curl over on a 2-hour. We need GME to curl back up on a 2-hour. That's right. Qs on a 5-minute is what I want to watch here. The reason I want to watch it on a 5-minute this afternoon is just because we do have some potential for reversal here. It's holding up pretty well as of right now. So this is more likely what I am attuned to. This is what I'm more thinking will take place as we do something like that. As we approach the end of the day, though, what if we just kind of fumble around, and then we start to head up going into Wednesday, going into tomorrow before Nvidia earnings. And we could just sit and go sideways until Nvidia earnings, to be honest about that. But good stuff looking from the market today. Not a bad look for the day. See if 2 hours can curl up. That's kind of the next big goal. XLU seeing a drop off here. Nope, not a 3-day. I need to do what you guys said and mark those favorites. Paying attention to any time XLU rolls down. I think that will be a big deal. So even though we could see upward price action, right? That's exactly what XLU saw. We're following that, and then if this crosses down, we could end up following that shortly after. It's like, okay, this crosses, then all those tech stocks, all the SPY starts to make that topping signal up here, like this, way up in this area, like that. We see a divergence, we see a divergence, we see it on XLU at the same time. So now's the time to pay attention. Cool. And we are getting even closer to an inversion. We are about 0.07 away from inversion. This morning we were 0.1 away from inversion. So we are, what, 30% closer to crossing, getting that uninversion play. We will see how quickly that turns out. Okay, Nvidia is still looking pretty good here. We just want to see if that 2 hour is able to really cross up. I think the hourly already did. So a 2 hour confirmation would really push you past this level, give you that breakout. Solid pullback with time. The inversion play, there's not really a play. It's just something to be aware of, that we are slowly starting to uninvert, right? We are inverted, and the more you go into inversion and you keep going into inversion, the more the stock market actually goes higher. And then the more you start to uninvert, right? Once you start to uninvert, the stock market usually comes down. So right now you are uninverting and the stock market is continuing higher with those rate cut love, right? But once that actually fully crosses that line and uninverts and the 2-year is actually lower than the 10-year, you can experience some actual trouble in the market, especially if we see some trap-like behavior. So we're just paying attention to it, right? We know that on inversion, we can still lead to, you know, what? 6 months even, or 18 months even of positivity. We just know that recession is on the horizon. And I've been trying to state this very clearly that this isn't different this time. You're going to see in articles all day long that this is different this time. Look at Nvidia earnings. It did so well, maybe, you know, I don't know how they're going to phrase it, but for the most part, I'm already seeing articles saying it's different this time since Jerome Powell talked. And even Jerome Powell slightly saying it's different this time. I'm here to tell you it's not. It's most likely not. It's most likely pretty bad. But that doesn't mean, oh, everything's going to crash all of a sudden. It could mean we're going to head up for like 6 more months and then see what happens. Okay, still looking at a 5-minute here. All we need is a simple curl up on the 5-minute and you got yourself a pretty good move. Heading into 155 for me, so about an hour to the close, starts in about 5 minutes. Yeah, and that's not really a play. It's more like if I see that uninverting, right? If I see that uninversion taking place and I see reversal signals in the SPY and the Qs, you bet your ass you better react. It means it might not be a good time to invest for a while. It might mean you're going into a little bit of a bear market. That's what that means to me. Do you think the dollar's bombing? I think it is, and I think that's people piling in at this moment. What I want to pay attention to with the dollar is the 4-hour. I want to see if that can rotate down. That can produce a day or so of positivity in the market, right? And then we want to see this. Once we get Nvidia earnings or some kind of big news, GDP, Nvidia earnings, do we get that big news and the dollar starts to go like that? And then the market goes like that at the same time. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking for that and reversal signals from the SPY starting to confirm. That's what I'm looking for. Is voting? Voting, Mark? So I do think this is plummeting. I mean, you look at the price of it, right? That is plummeting. But at the same time, we'll look if there's a rotation back into it. Because you see this, oh gosh, if that created the divergence at the same time as the dollar, right? A triple divergence on the dollar and a divergence on the VIX, I'd be paying attention to that pretty closely. Which volatility moving up does not mean you absolutely have to see a sell-off right away, okay? You don't have to see a sell-off right away. But we can see that very shortly after. Oh, bottoming, yeah. I do see bottoming signals forming for the dollar at this point. It's just you're still forming that dollar. Gonna take a nap, Hazard? Probably a good idea. Get some good sleep in you. Get some recovery sleep still. Now, Tesla is still showing the signal really starting to build that liquidity in here. I thought this was interesting, seeing that 30-minute actually confirm up. Just so you're aware, Tesla is confirming a divergence right now, saying a 2-hour pop would make sense. So when you see enough of these signals on multiple different charts, right, on multiple different tickers, then you would say, okay, now it's starting to add up. That upside looks probable, but we always have to be aware of bad things can happen. That's what I would like to say, right? We're always aware of how things break down. We can pay attention to this. I still think we're forming a handle for this little 5-minute move, but that doesn't mean that what I think has to happen. So I'm just seeing if this 5-minute can rotate back up. And I think this is just important because we're looking for the bottom here. We're looking for the 2-hour to cross back up, right? So if that 5-minute can just give us a good push, that 2-hour might be close to crossing, and then tomorrow we actually see that come to fruition in the morning. YS, thanks for telling people to like the video. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being here this afternoon. We're trying to see if this 5-minute divergence is going to add up to anything or if we're actually just going to see that cross back up. 5-minute divergence never convinces me to take a play. One thing I was actually still looking at here, Microsoft. Wanting to curl down there, seeing if that 2-hour can rotate up. I think the Qs want to do it. I just don't see enough of that selling. Now this is worrisome, right? If that happened, that's worrisome. That is like, okay, the 30-minute might need to go gain those buyers, right? Or we're just going to drop off. So this is worrisome. That's why I did not like that look, right? But this is okay for now. We're holding up. US oil. Got to zoom out on the time frames just a little bit here. Ooh. Uh-oh. Now, are we creating that shoulder? So 30-minute curls up, that still would be a good sign. Kind of want to look at this. 2-hour, I'm sure, pulling down. It even went past our little zone. Just a little bit. Got some wicks in the bottom of our zone here. Seeing if that can rotate back up. Strong move. Daily did cross with the divergence, so this could all be just consolidation on a 2-hour for oil here, and then USO it would be on a 30-minute. One thing I was looking at was gold kind of gearing up for another move, seeing that give another point of divergence. Still looking for it. The 2-hour gave you that blip. Now it's turning back up. Is that curling back up on the 30-minute? It is. Okay, so right now it's saying, hey, I'm going to break out to the upside. That's what gold is saying. We'll see if that comes to fruition. It does make sense with how the dollar is dropping down that gold is positive right now. It does make sense. Netflix was one that had a little bit of weakness in these highs now. I just wanted to point that out as well. Not really on the 2-hour, but I was looking at it on an hourly, and look how close that is to negative territory. So if that experiences negativity, that'd be bad. So what you're looking for here is the 30-minute to curl down and be able to hold up better. What's Palantir up to today? Man, really starting to not give, really just pulling back with this bounce with time, right? Not the best look in the world there from Palantir. I know there was an extreme amount of calls down towards 470. Interesting. PCC is still relatively high, not really out of 0.95, but 0.937. Best move today for Microsoft. I did like the Microsoft move. We're going to see if that needs to pull back for a brief moment, but for the most part, this signal's been pretty good. Now we just see continued upside. If that 2-hour can cross up, we could consolidate for a moment here. I really want to figure out this move from the Qs. Like, is it going to reload? Is it going to like reload with a full retest or something and then see that move up tomorrow with the earnings maybe and with GDP? Or are we going to see this thing go off? And actually, one thing we probably need to look at real quick is what that GDP is expected. I think it's supposed to come in a little bit higher, not tomorrow, but on Thursday. We do notice previous 1.4, now supposed to double that, supposed to go up to 2.8, so we'll see what happens with that. And then we do get initial jobless claims. So you do get a little bit of jobs data on Thursday as well. That is supposed to either stay even or tick up a tiny bit. Pending home sales, previous was 4.8. Oh, it's supposed to come down pretty drastically. And then Fed balance sheet. So yeah, no real break there, really. No real break. We get a bunch of data. A lot of the time I like, if I'm gonna see some kind of big move, what you can watch overnight or something like that is the dollar volatility. Well, like volatility past, I think it's like 2 a.m. for me. But a lot of the time volatility will give you those hints. Like volatility will show you something pretty simple, like what? Like a double top up in here, and you'll notice when was this happening? What happened overnight? It really started to drop off. Not necessarily overnight, actually, that was during the market hours, but volatility is something I've watched repeatedly to see what is going to happen the next day, right? So I want to see if there's any kind of reversal signals in here. You see the 30 or the 5-minute divergence. This is a 5-minute, that's why I'm all messed up. The 30-minute is what I wanted to pay attention to. So like maybe points like this, you'll see, what is this, 2 a.m., we start to see volatility increase, and then by morning, what happens? Well, we see a pullback in the market. So something like volatility can give you those hints with these divergences. Market started to pull back. Yeah, I see the key is now down to 0.25, positive 0.25 at this point, still pulling down as of this moment. Now my question, while that's happening, the dollar is starting to bounce back. Interesting stuff. I like it. Makes for a fun market. Just know that dollar's dropped off pretty dramatically, to be honest, so might have to turn on some tunage. Turn on some tunage. Thank you guys so much for liking as we're doing our closing stream. Really appreciate it. I'm going to try my best to put out a video tonight. My time is looking a little limited. I've spent way too much time looking at charts today. I've really been trying to figure this thing out, and I think this is the best case here, is to look at if that 30 minutes is going to rotate down to gain some more buyers, or if we're going to start to drop from here, we're going to cross on the daily, or are we just seeing a simple 5-minute cup and handle still, as that is still close to that center line. So I want to pay attention for a moment here. Let's go over and listen to some music at the end of the day here. I don't want something. That's probably fine. Let's just do this. All right, so we're dropping down, dropping down, dropping down. Okay, so if that 30-minute crosses down, that's a bad thing, right? That means we are going to most likely go down deeper to find those buyers. Maybe go down to this level down here, 473. 15-minute has, just about to cross. So if I had any upside, I'd be looking at selling that now, but just because of this dropping down. We'll see what that does over the next 7 minutes. But if that crosses, that's the management of a trade. We talk about that in the courses as well. It's not saying that can't turn back around. It's just saying, hey, to mitigate risk, let me get out of this and then get back into it if it turns back around. But hasn't happened yet. See how flaggy this looks? We'll see. But you see that see, this is cool though. You see the 5-minute divergence on the VIX. You see the same freaking thing on the Qs right now. Same thing on the SPY. So that's when you want to pay attention. Still like the Qs though. Let's see. Crimson, seeing if anyone had a good trade out there today. Hello, BK. How you doing? I don't pay for real time, but I do have the slightly upgraded, right? I have the basic one for TradingView. If you use a ton of indicators, yeah, you might need more than that, but for me, I don't use that. I don't need it. Oh, okay. Yeah, make sure you're live as well. If you're clicking back and forth to charts, sometimes like YouTube doesn't update. You got to hit that live button. If it closes at 561 or higher, I'm shorting for tomorrow. I wanna get numb and forget where I'm from. I'm looking in your eyes like looking at the sun. I'm still liking this. This is when I'll probably hold volatility with both hands. If we see this confirm, this is when I'm gonna buy volatility. Boom, like this. Just do something like that and I'll be doing it. But just note, where is that 2 hour? Is it right next to the center line? No, we could dip further down, right? We could dip further down to go gain those buyers over time. But I think you're 24 hours or 48 hours away from, I think you're 48 hours away from seeing a big move. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means the volume hasn't really come in yet. It could mean big players are probably waiting for Nvidia earnings. Then if we turn down right now, John Baker, what I can do is just look at the daily. If that crosses down, then I go, okay, that's pulling down, right? That's going to go lower. It just depends. I would say more so if those calls see this 15-minute rotate down, that might be a management position. But if the 5-minute rotates back up, you could probably be pretty confident in that, at least for another like 24 hours. Just depends, though. It depends on the position. I know you don't have a lot of time left, but it depends on the position. Is it in the money? Can you take profit to play with house money? All those things come into consideration. So it's hard for me to say if you should stay into something, right? We're more just looking at momentum, and then you have to decide what to do. You know what I mean? If that 15-minute rolled over and I had Q calls for, say, tomorrow, and that 15-minute rolls over, I'm managing my trade, right? I'm mitigating my risk. But if I see this 5-minute curl up today, then I might hold on to those for another day. That's kind of how I do things. That's how we teach it in the course, and that's just using momentum to make decisions. That's what we're trying to teach here. 30-minute did cross for Tesla. I don't mind the look. The only problem I have with Tesla is we need to see a breakout moment. You need to break out of this consolidation, okay? So for the 30-minute, this is fantastic. I need to see that breakout moment. That's what I need. I need that breakout moment. Microsoft trying to have that breakout moment. That's why I'm kind of like in this thing a little bit ago, right? I got into this thing and I'm going to see if it has that breakout moment. It's consolidating there, which is a good thing. But if that 15-minute rolls over, do I like that? No, I'm going to be out of the trade. And then if it curls down to here and then curls back up, I'll be right back in, right? It's so risky. It is, Sid. So the positions for these, do you think these positions are, so with what Sid just said, Nvidia earnings can really rip around the market, right? It holds a huge weight in the market, ton of collateral with Nvidia right now. So do you think my position here is even $10,000 for Microsoft? Do you think my position here for Microsoft is even $4,000? No, my position's going to be small, right? My position's going to be small just so I can make some money, and that's it. I'm just like, hey, I want to progress my account further. This looks like a decent trade. I'm going to take it, but I know that there's some risky things happening this week, so I mitigate my risk by using smaller positions. Again, I know people hear me do that all the time. I didn't do that all the time in the last month, right? When we saw the short squeeze, I felt like a kid in a candy shop, and I went, okay, cool, made some great money. And then I go, okay, now this week we're seeing these good signals, but there's a bump in the road, so I don't want to turn that bump in the road into a brick wall and drive my car into it. If I can, I would use a smaller position, so it's just that. If this curls down, it's a bump in the road. If I put too much money here and then this curls down, then it could be a brick wall that I'm driving into. Oh God, Abercrombie and Fitch again. Whoa, okay, Abercrombie and Fitch. All right, well, that's a 15-minute. Hold on here. 30-minute curl up, 30-minute good sign, right? Still looking for that hourly turn up. Hourly turns up here, good things can happen. Yeah, just managing the trade, right? If this 30-minute curls down, that's negative territory. Even in, maybe even if the 15-minute curls down, look where that is. It's still close. So earnings, little risky. Good luck to you. That's all I can say about that guy. And now I hang ourselves with the view. I hope you knew I had some help. So that 15-minute hasn't rolled down. Let's see if this 5-minute can start to make a move up. We got about 15 minutes until 2:30, and then maybe once those options expire, we see something crazy. You could use some nerves. Oh, I'm not guilty or something. Yeah, I don't know why I've been real fidgety today. Like my legs can't stop moving. That's why you see the mouse moving. My leg can't stop kicking. The ADHD hitting me hard today. I had some help. It ain't like I can make this kind of mess all by myself. They act like you ain't got to get the bottle off the shelf. I hit every swing on the 3-minute QQQ perfectly, setting a new personal record. I only made $20 on small bets. Each swing was a winner. It's good to know the daily. Yeah, there you go. That's fantastic. Good job. Yeah, I know, Christina. I need something. I need to like go to the gym. I need to lift weights and get rid of some. I have some built up energy, I think. No, that ain't the truth. That's them. It ain't like I can make this kind of mess all by myself. All right, we're starting to see a little bit of positivity here. Just a little bit of positivity. Yeah, let's look at Lulu. Ooh, kind of liking this look, actually. Is that going to curl up that 30-minute? 30-minute curl up's what I'm looking for. You have to know you have a bunch of divergences above you. But that doesn't mean an upward move can't happen. It just means be careful with it. Take profit a little earlier, right? If I see all these divergences going down, then if that's going to hold true and we're going to see this, isn't that going to be a smaller move? So shouldn't I pay attention to even if that does that? Even if that does this? Because that could happen. So I'm paying attention to it, right? But that 30-minute curls up, positivity can be there. It doesn't have to do this, right? It doesn't have to do that. So if it doesn't, we could just see it go, keep going. We'll find out, but for the most part, there's divergences here, so I'd just be a little bit careful. As that 2 hour is crossing, I'd be a little bit careful. None of those signals confirming just yet for the 30-minute curl up, but solid move from Lulu. Lulu was one, 2 hour divergence was fantastic. I think that's how I see it, Tom. I think you have a slight, you know, with the consolidation you're getting here, I think this isn't a bad thing for bulls, but you still need 2 hours to curl back up. You have hourlies trying to do it, you know, you have that kind of stuff. You have some structure on a 5-minute. So I'd still say there's an edge towards bulls going into the Nvidia earnings. No, you only say you love me when you're high. It's like we go through the same shit every night. I'm not allowed to sing. I get demonetized. Oh, DJT was the daily signal, correct? And the 2 hour signal. This 2 hour pops up. I like DJT. That's all I'm going to say. That 2 hour goes like that. I like DJT. Have we curled up that daily signal yet? No, we haven't. Right? Oh, wait. Yes, we have. We have curled it up. Okay. Misspoke. But double dip. Now that 2 hour signal is what you're looking at, right? Daily confirms, 2 hour crosses, manage the trade for a moment. That drops down further. That curls back up, right back into play. Dow is interesting because it has 2 hour flatness here saying the daily is about to pull back. So this is where it's confusing because if this daily pulls back and it doesn't hold up, right, it curls down, that's not a good thing, right? That's bad. That's bad. But it's just like interesting how this has behaved. I'll put it that way because you do have these 2 hour signals saying, hey, this thing can confirm down, but I could see another 30-minute push higher, right? That's what it's saying. So at this moment, if we get a 30-minute push higher, that's great. But does it last throughout Nvidia earnings pretty much? Does the Dow drop while the market continues to go higher, right? That's kind of some stuff I'm paying attention to as well. You always say this shit's gonna change, but it never does. Amazon's starting to build back a little bit. Not confirming anything though, no real good reversal signs. This looks very flaggy. You know what I mean for Tesla? Whoever's out there looking at Tesla, I'm still paying. I need a breakout moment, man. This is just too flaggy for me. I mean, it's fun to look at. You can look for it as far as where you think some support and resistance could go. So what you can do is kind of find an area that you would see as like support resistance, right? So let's say the SPY today. We know that 557.79 is an important level, right? So now let's look right above that, 558. Let's look at 558. If I go and pull up Max Payne for a second here, I'd want to see if 558 has any kind of thing at it, any kind of thing. Calls, puts, anything. Some kind of wall. And sure enough, 557 and 560, we have two of the elevated levels where it's pretty close to the center there. And then right before that, we have right after that, we have 563 as a call wall. So pretty much you had 555 and 563. So 555 way down here. Then you had 560. So there's your 560-ish level right in there. Then we end up going higher, and then you look above you, and you got 562 and 563 is where that started to elevate. So where are we at? We're at 562. So right at that call wall is where we're starting to consolidate, I would say. But I want you to look at the signal in front of you. If that 30-minute curls down, are you very confident that that's not going to go into a negative trend? That's kind of a bad thing. But yeah, I'd more so be looking at it from a support and resistance standpoint, seeing if one of them lines up with one of your support and resistance on your chart. But do I use it to help me with something? Most of the time it's like, where am I going to take profit? Is it by a resistance level? Okay, awesome. That's where I'm planning on taking profit then. So if I go, what is this? Qs, let's go SPY again on the 5-minute. Right, we see this. Maybe that curls up with that cup and handle look. Well, I can look at tomorrow and see 570. 570 is where it's supposed to go, right? But the first point will be 567. So if this is going to see some kind of big upward move, maybe 567, if I have a daily expected move in that area, would make some sense. If I drop down lower, maybe 555, right? But I need to see my daily expected moves too to help me out with that. It's not the most useful thing in the world, Max Payne. It's really not. It can help you a little bit with some levels, but for the most part, signals all day long, your indicators all day long. Close, you're very close on AMC. Let's go look at that. I haven't looked at that pretty much all day. Look at that barcode. That's a nice barcode there, isn't it? 2 hour hasn't been able to curl back down, and I think that's an important thing. I think this wick is more important than you think, right? Because all we're looking for is a daily curl up. Now we look at this daily bar. It looks bad, doesn't it? It doesn't look the best. It looks like indecision. Can't decide if it wants to go up, can't decide if it wants to go down, which makes sense. You have people buying this, holding the stock to hopefully cause that to go up. And then you have people with their foot on the gas to try to push it down, right? So indecision makes total sense here. But the cool thing that's happening is you're finally maybe getting a full green close. A green bar, even if that closes flat, still a green bar. I kind of like it. If that curls up tomorrow, uh-oh. So you don't want to do that, though. You don't want to do this. That means, hey, we can consolidate and then see another reaction. You need to start to go up to really curl around this 200. Something big's on the horizon. I'm just with this stuff shaping up, with how the market's shaping up, with the rate cuts coming in, it's all leaning towards September. AMC range is tighter. It's a little bit tighter. And the cool part for GameStop was this one's tighter as well. This one's really freaking tight. So if you need to see some kind of squeeze, all you got to get above is 23.57. It's one of the lowest implied volatility we've seen. And what do I say? Once the expectation, aka the implied volatility, starts to decrease, that means the expectation for a big move is going down. And I think that's more when you want to pay attention. And that's what's been happening over the last couple of weeks. SPY has a hammer on the daily. Let's go look at that thing. I'm not really seeing a hammer. I'm just seeing this, not really seeing a hammer. Never did hound all these I can't see. Never the courage to carry me. Just a simple 5-minute curl up can go a long way here. Sorry, I'm kind of messy with how I'm playing with the charts. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. God, this is so out of whack. All my stuff's out of whack, man. Yeah, where's that drummer girl? That's who I want to listen to right now. I need some good drumming. Yeah, there we go. Some drumming. Let's get some drumming going. I keep getting kicked out of YouTube. No! Tell them to stop it, Tammy. It is, Jeremiah. Yeah, and that's the 5-minute divergence and why we're looking at that. The 5-minute divergence. This is why I hopped on just a little bit earlier. But it could still be cup and handle. You're seeing that 30-minute. What is that doing? Ooh, getting really, really close to rolling down. If that happens, maybe we gear up, look for reversal signals later on, right? The timing's just slightly off. But we have to pay attention to it like it could be bad because that dollar could reverse around at any time. I'm still leaning towards this 5-minute. I think we see another move up. But if things really start to change, if that 30-minute rotates down, then probably going to be managing some trades. La 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 la. The main thing for Meta was the 2-hour divergence leading to this downturn. Now you're kind of flagging out. So that's the only worrisome thing. I just want to see if that 2-hour curls up. Maybe we go and test this high. And then once again, if you just look at all these stocks that are doing well, if that 2-hour went like this, we would go into next week's and then September 6th hits. That's not going to be a good look. That's going to be this. Right? That's not going to be a good look. So I'm watching out for that. SparkNotes version. Everything is very close. Yeah, and it's kind of an annoying day when that's what I have to say on almost every chart. But gotta tell it how it is, unfortunately. 2-hour is about to curl up for the Qs. If it does, positivity, right? Ooh, and the way to look at this, though, the way to make it more entertaining and the way to make it more involved is to look at the shorter time frames and look at the structure we have there. You have a 5-minute really close to the center line. So, uh-oh. Are we going to gear up for a big move? No, we need Just Joe in here for those volatility bottoms, you know? Volatility, though, I'm still looking at it, and I'm noticing some interesting things. And that would be if the 4-hour creates this divergence. You see that 4-hour crossing down? That tells me positivity is still the most likely move. But if I saw this, and then I go over to the dollar, and I see this start to turn back up, that's when I'm going to be like, uh-oh, we might be in for a little bit of a sell-off. Alrighty. Let's just see if things can curl up. Let's mellow out. AMC doing the thing. Well, we'll just see if it can produce a positive bar. But it's like, that is looking like it needs to pop off. The market looks like it's topping out. We have tons of stuff going on with the uninversion, with the cutting of rates. It's like all of those things are leading up into September. And then we get bad jobs data again. They haven't solidified it's just 0.25. They've said, yes, we are doing 0.25. But they're also saying we're going to react to the data. So if that data, jobs data, comes out hot again, or cold again, right? They do not want further cooling in the jobs market. So that would tell me jobs data, if unemployment rises, if it's dramatic, uh-oh. Here is much closer to the 10-year. Let's go look at that. Ooh, 0.07, so about 0.07 off again. Last time we checked, I think it was about 0.07 as well. But it was at 0.1 this morning. Now it's 0.07, so very close to uninverting. I would assume that would wait. I mean, we could see what happens with GDP, too. Like, what if Nvidia earnings is all just a trap, but we see uninversion with GDP? Who knows? Because if they're saying we're going to cut rates, and then GDP comes out, and then the 10-year rises while the 2-year kind of stays flat, that could make that happen. NIXI has already signaled buy at today's low, but UUP has left a new target low at 27.93, so no entry for me into the dollar. Yeah, I really like the dollar if it would actually cut this. Kind of like we did in the past. I want you to look over here. Like we did over here. If we can cut below this real quick and then start to build up, that's kind of what I want to see. Hey, yo. You should have known better to someone like me. Oh, everyone trying to get puts. Everyone trying to get puts right now. 0.96. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people go into the put side. Let's not say everyone. So puts are adding up. Dollar is down. I think there was overall buying happening today. Oh no. Scott says, bad idea. Well, it depends too. How long out are they getting put? If it's a freaking year, it probably makes sense. If it's 6 months, they see that reverse signal, they kind of scale into the position. I think it would make sense, right? But if you're saying, hey, you know, buying puts with, if this 5-minute curls up, not the best move is overall what that says, according to momentum. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Scott. I know what you were saying. $50 basis point cut is leaning towards crash territory afterwards. 25, maybe a little more time left. Dollar is losing value, man. Fast. Don't we get something? What's up, guys? Fed balance sheet comes out on Thursday. Anything today? API, oh, some oil info coming out at 30 minutes after the close. And then a bunch of oil stuff going on tomorrow. Thursday is probably the most important day for us. All right, so this is not confirming up. Is the 15-minute rolling down? There you go, 15-minute is rolling down. We'll see how that prints in the next 12 minutes and then look for if there's some kind of move to the upside. But for now, that would mean, hey, just in case something bad happens, I'm out. If it goes right back in, all right, I'll go back in. But for now, my signal is telling me, hey, watch this for 12 minutes. If that prints, then downside is the most potential thing. Still would say pullback, right? Still would just say pullback unless that goes extremely negative. Is the Dow rolling? Dow started to roll a little bit. We'll see. We'll see if that can confirm down. SPY? SPY's doing it. Qs are doing it. Unless we get like 10 minutes of positivity soon. So, yeah, initially, sometimes it's like initially, if you go back and look at the COVID crash, you'll see the week that we were crashing, the dollar crashed as well. And then after that, the dollar started to rotate back up in a regular behavior. Just put it on my finger. Gotta see if this 15-minute prints. 10 minutes left. Let's see. Let's see if that 5-minute rotates back. It can, Kyle. That's going to be the worst if it happens, but just being a diligent trader is what's important to me. It'll save me in the long run, even from those random moves, Kyle. But I get you. But we're not out technically yet, right? We're not saying that 15 minutes still has to make sure it's crossing. You got 10 minutes till that happens. So we'll see if this 5-minute can rotate back up real quick. If we stay in, it gaps down. If we get out, it gaps up. And if I hold it, then it goes sideways. Volume's bad. Once that volume comes in, we just got to see which way that actually ends up. Most likely, volume will be bad until Nvidia earnings. I'm telling you, I think most people are sitting on the sidelines for the, or you're just not letting it hit the tape, right? It's behind the curtain if it's big numbers. Because that dollar's dropped off pretty dramatically. Should we do a poll? We'll do a poll in the morning after we see how we're opening up. That way people have a little bit more of a hint. It crossed, but it's not confirmed. We need, what? 9 more minutes? 8 more minutes? Oh, I think AMC has high potential to do something in September. I think that's potential for sure, especially if something like the collateral of Nvidia goes into trouble, right? If the earnings are bad and that is their collateral, it's like, okay, that's your collateral damage. What else are you going to put up for borrowing power? You can't borrow anymore using that collateral, so it's going to make borrowing more difficult. That's why I think they need to produce a Nvidia good earnings. Uh-oh, see, that 15-minute, now let's look. What if we see more positivity here for 7 minutes? So loud I can hear my voice, making through my mistakes same. Yeah, I'm glad I hopped on a little early so we could watch this behavior. I think it's good to learn this. Like how to treat a... Oh, ow, I need my desk. How to treat kind of a that potential shorter time frame. Double top, really focusing on the bullish and bearish case in real time. 5-minute crossing up. RSI getting above the center line. Watch out if that MACD crosses up too. Now, that could still fade down. We need to pay attention if that 15-minute crosses for the most part. Got about 6 minutes left for this 15-minute bar to print. I have 315 tickers. Holy crap. Yeah, that's a little much. Oh, it'd be cool to pay attention to different tickers based on seasonality, based on the cycle. Looking at, say, certain times of the year, looking at, or certain times of the cycle, looking at utilities and things like that could be cool. But 315 all at once, damn. I thought I had a lot, and this is mainly what I look at. Just I'll look around at other stuff, but this is what I mainly look at. I think one more good 5-minute bar going like that. If you get that, I don't think that 15-minute crosses anymore. Let's see what else. What are the songs we got? Okay, we can listen to this. SMCI, I'd really like to see a basing out in some way. I understand this could be affected by the earnings, so I want to pay attention to little roll-ups and things like that, but I can be patient, watch for Nvidia earnings, see this 2-hour curl up, and then be like, okay, awesome. Even if it gaps up, I can be like, okay, awesome, make a decision. But hey, if you have your assessment and you think, oh, this could go up to $1,000, and you have your assessment, you have your comfortable level to buy, I get it. Everyone has their way to do things. I have my way, you have your way. I won't hate on you for any position. As long as you're doing some good research, then I'm with you. It's chemical. No, I can't let go. Uh-oh, 5-minute. See how tricky it is with that MACD? These little time frames are more tricky in my opinion. We'll see if this prints at higher levels. Exactly, Crimson. Exactly, guys. Yeah, exactly, Mark. It's great. And Mark's pretty good at this too, just really paying attention to the signals, looking if oil's good, looking if gold's good, making a decision. I think that's fantastic. But if this still happens, I'll probably still react. But is it happening in my trade as well, right? Is it happening in my trade? 15-minute. Is that curling down? No. So do I need to manage anything yet? No. But I just think this was interesting. Q's trying to curl over here, so we'll see if that fully curls down. If it does, we can react, and then if in the next few minutes of bars we see that 5-minute curl up, hey, that's awesome. Yeah, it looks like that wick there might be the nail in the coffin. We'll find out. 2 minutes. You only had 2 minutes. Hey, let him stop. You tell me what I gotta do. Hayden was another example of Mullen was yesterday when yahoos show up at the YouTube live vlog and woohoo, look out below. Hey, that's how it works sometimes. That's why we ask questions, ask for polls and things like that. A lot of puts coming in. Dollar still at low levels. Puts coming in. And seeing that market drop. So what would they do tomorrow to really hurt you? Well, they would probably convince you to sell right now and then pop the market higher. But it still can go lower. That's the key thing. It's like the 30-minute hasn't rotated down. That's a good sign. But the 15-minute is. So if I wanted to make sure to manage my risk, then I would hope for, hey, this 15-minute curls down, bad things, okay, and then that just goes like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm right back in. Never get this stressed out, paranoid, everything is going dark. That's not a definitive cross. I'd like to see a red bar too, but that's a positive bar on the cross. 0.01. Glad for the after hours trading. Feel the thing, the emptiness is heavier than you think. Oh god, it would be insane if just 20 seconds we see this thing go up unconfirmed. Hear me, but you know how it feels. Ooh, rejected the crossing. Small basing out signal. Short time frames for volatility. Meta trying to push up? Someone said Meta's trying to push up? Let's go check on that for a second. Yeah, 30-minute rejecting there. Trying to curl up now. Looking for that 1 hour cross at least, but the positioning of the MACD very, very low. Watch for that breakdown area towards 527.50. All right, so as far as it goes for now, the cues are telling us, hey, the 15-minute here is not liking this, and then what happens right after that? This is where it's like pays to maybe react right after. Look at that. 5-minute curls back up, right back into play. We'll see. Hasn't curled up yet. Uh-oh. Oh, there you go. Right after the 15-minute post it. Look at that. 15-minute post it, then it's going to curl right back up. That would be sad. We'll see if it holds. I like it. Barely curled up. Interesting end of the day here. Still looking for those basing out signals from the dollar. And volatility. And the put call ratio is high. We'll see. Volatility looks like it has a little bit more room down. We sit around all day to figure out who has the longer candle. Wow, that looks a lot like the keys, doesn't it? It ain't like I can make this kind of mess all by myself. Mm-hmm. Looking over at Apple, it does have some signals here that says it's rolling down. So this could lead to more downside. But what you want to overall think here isn't what to react to next. What you want to react to is this moment here, right? This moment here showed some solid upside. Okay, what do we see? This curling up. So most likely we can look at this and say this would be very, very bad. So that's the next thing to react to. Has that happened yet? No, it hasn't. But what can I pay attention to in a shorter time frame to see if that is overall going to curl down, right? If this 30 minutes starts to curl down, then that 2 hours is very close. So if that 30-minute curls down, and then I would say if that curls back up, then okay, nothing to worry about. But if that curls down, bad things can happen. So John, I think that's more what to look at is a little 30 minutes, seeing if that confirms down. Just wait for when volume comes back in, then we'll know a direction. We will definitely know a direction. Yeah, see, like if the SPY confirmed this down, that'd be bad. If the Qs confirm this down, that'd be bad. But for now, it's kind of fighting, seeing, do I want to curl up or do I want to curl down? That's what it seems like. Look at this. All right, 10 minutes left. All right, let's get off of this 5-minute. I hate 5-minute charts anyways. I'd rather look at 2 hours and stuff. Still seeing if that 2 hour can curl back up for the SPY and the Q, seeing if those 2 hours can rotate back up. You guys know that is what I'm overall leaning towards. We'll see if that produces with Nvidia or without it. We'll see if that pulls back before Nvidia and then curls back up. We'll see that flowiness going into next week. I still think September 6th is going to be the most important there. Looking at things like Tesla, other things that could run, things like Microsoft can still see some kind of run. We'll see if that's able to take place, get up into this zone again, and then we might be in a little bit of trouble, right? So as we look over towards Nvidia, we'll just see, does this need to consolidate further before that earnings? Or is this just going to cross up and get excited before? Get more excited after? We'll see. I think 140 to the upside would be touched this week. And if the earnings are good, then you can surpass that, but we'll see. Yeah, the Qs are bottoming out in the short time frame, saying pullback could still happen. But in the grand scheme of things, what's happening on a 4 hour? It's curling down on this MACD. Right? See that 4 hour? So now we have to see, does that happen for quite a bit of time and then start to do that? We'll find out. We need some more price action, unfortunately. Now, because I have to catch up on some stuff, I streamed for a little longer than usual. I had to pay more attention to charts today throughout my day. I won't be able to make a video tonight for YouTube, but just to make sure you're aware, the courses are down there in the description, and also we will be putting out the daily expected moves in the morning, so make sure you're subscribed with those notifications on. Okay, so you can get those in the morning. Those are usually helpful. We haven't touched them in a little bit. We haven't touched them. What did we touch? We touched it on the SPY yesterday, I believe. With this guy, that was Friday. That was today. Pretty sure we haven't touched them in a couple of days. Maybe it was this one. I think it was that one that touched. But yeah, so tune in tomorrow for the live video in the morning. Tesla just flagging and flagging and flagging. Let's go. Everyone, a little bit still leveraged towards the put side for that put PCC. Uh-oh, SPY, Qs. Remember the 15-minute crossing? We're like, hey, manage the trade. And never confirmed back up for the 5 minutes, so not even a chance to say, okay, yeah, I'm right. Nope, didn't confirm back up, so. Still could be in a pullback. A lot can change by the morning. You can. With this type of setup, you can see a pop overnight, yes, but we'll see if that distributes to the upside or downside at this point. Looks like for me, this is pulling down, but that dollar is still down, okay? That dollar is still dramatically down. Is it rising? Is it rising rapidly? Not really. So we're not seeing any kind of selling in this area, too much selling at least. As far as the, flow into cash, that's more the way to put it. We're not seeing a rotation into cash just yet. AMD, I still like the look of this so far. Dipping down to go a little bit lower, create another point of divergence here, start to turn up. We'll see if that 30-minute can really show that, right? Rejection there, starting to turn back up. So that just tells me the 2 hours probably getting pretty damn close to crossing. You see that right by the center line? So if that crosses up, could be a good sign. Could mean we could see a reaction up to 160.83 again. The shame that it's only gets you hated. Yeah, they went I was in my basement. There's how they tell me why. I feel. Okay, I gotta turn the tunes off for a second. What the fuck? Volatility is, the volatility call options are exploding right now, just so you're aware. Just so you're aware, volatility call options starting to go to premium to the call side. So be cautious, something funky's happening. My account just, on my volatility play, just went up a lot. Now, that happens from time to time. It doesn't mean it's actually there, right? It just means someone might have bought that option. The demand for that option just ticked up. Am I not paying enough attention to this? I mean, I know there's a 30-minute little thing here. Not on the hourly. Am I not paying enough attention to this right now? What's it doing? What's it reacting to on the daily? No, that still looks bad. Interesting. Sorry, I was looking at something at the same time. Why is someone buying a bunch of volatility right there, causing that option to spike? What? Yeah, I mean, if this 30-minute rolls down, that's bad. For sure, you're closer to the center line. Something's fishy here. I don't like this. Something's weird. I'm gonna wait till after Nvidia earnings. I'm gonna get out of some positions. Yeah, I think that was the safer thing to do there. All right, so just so you're aware, I'm gonna manage the trade for a moment. I think I gotta be patient even more so with this. I know that hasn't crossed and that easily could produce an upside move tomorrow, but a spike in someone buying a bunch of volatility, and I just felt uncomfortable for a moment. So you'll notice when I feel uncomfortable about something, what am I doing? I'm still reacting to make myself feel at ease. I can always be patient, wait for the next play. I'm making sure my next play is a good one, so I gotta be a little patient with it. I could be wrong, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I exited Microsoft just because kind of like that gut thing. Not saying it's right. A lot of the time my gut gets it wrong. It's just to mitigate my risk. I can make a little 5% on it and just be done for now. And then look at after Nvidia earnings, look for some plays. I'm just a little bit worried that this happens. I'm a little bit worried that this happens. This is very close to going positive, but you notice it's rolling. So I just want to be able to get into that position a little lower, and that would mean bad things for Microsoft as well. Something like that could form. So I'm just going to be patient again, once again. Still chilling, right? This could easily just produce that upward move, but just for my sake, I'm like, I don't like that. I don't know what Tesla's up to. Amazon's not building back. Nvidia looks like it could roll on this 30-minute as well. So until we're really in the clear and seeing 2 hours pull up, right? 2 hours pull up. What I'm saying is more so with Microsoft, I'm waiting for more price action. If I get that 2 hour to go like this, okay, now I can play it to that zone. And look at this damage you did to me. There you go. There's that breakup. It's probably gonna break up now that I bought or I sold it. Okay. All right, so pretty interesting day. We got a lot of interesting signals going on, and now you even have little signals for your dollar here saying, hey, if I start to gain some ground, I can start to bottom out here. There are bottoming signals happening. As we go over and look at volatility, we're notice that is just going down and down and down. I'm still leaning towards this for volatility, seeing that creep down like this, and then we see a 4 hour divergence. That's something I'm going to pay attention to going forward. But overall, I just want to say thank you guys for showing up today. I won't be able to have enough time, as I've spent a lot of time today looking at charts. I want to make sure to make those videos good for you. I really do. And so I don't want to have to take 5 minutes to make a video. I didn't like the way that video was yesterday, even though it did end up, proving some upside. That's fine. But I really want to work hard on those videos to make sure it's giving good info and giving you guys those daily expected moves. So I'm going to not have too much time. So we're going to hopefully be looking at this. That way I can put aside some time before Nvidia earnings, okay? And then we'll give you these daily expected moves in the morning. So tune into our live video tomorrow morning and you can get those daily expected moves, all right? Yeah, that's it. I hope everyone had a good day today and I hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for all the help. Of course, Sid. Thank you guys for being here and thank you guys for asking questions. You guys make it a lot of fun, so I really appreciate it. I hope you guys treat yourself to some nice food tonight, right? I hope you guys have some nice food, some good times with some family and friends and things like that. And I hope you guys have a great, great night, all right? I'll talk to you guys tomorrow in the morning. Peace out.